Urki.
Ash Urki Udam Pash. Urki Udam Malmasha.
Udam Urki Karsa.
Oh, long time.
Oti Udam Guarui. Malmashta. Nashashwebal.
Yeah, Nashash. Wabow. Shash County Guarshu. Bow bow.
Review mode. Budget. Oh god. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm gonna have a crack at that intro, straight out of Public Speaking 101. Anyway, I've been playing a lot of Cry Primal, and I've also never done a game review style video before. I've always wanted to, so this game's gonna be my first. I always thought it would be Ratchet and Clank or something, you know, something that I started during childhood, but my brain is fucking weird, dude. Anyway, so, Far Cry Primal, it's really captivated me, and it's fun. What exactly makes it fun though? And why should you give this now 5-year-old game a go? And if you have played it already, why are you even watching this? Oh, you're here for my other stuff. Tough shit, I'm doing this today.
Let's just see what Captain Quark has to say about that, my good man.
If you'd like to support what I do, please consider supporting me through Patreon, Twitch, or Discord Nitro, like these Dosh legends. Links in the description. So first of all, this game's got a lot to live up to because of its title, unfortunately. I think I'm sort of doing this at the time where Far Cry 6 is coming out. I think, give me a second. Yep. Far Cry 6 is coming out October 7, which is not too long away. So anyway, Far Cry Primal has a lot to live up to because of its name, Far Cry. It's the Far Cry bit. This game's not exactly a rootin' tootin' shoot 'em up like the others. So if you're looking for a game with a very organized storyline that you can speed through as if you would a book or a single player game for the narrative enjoyment, probably look elsewhere. The way the main storyline is set up is like a giant spiderweb. You've got to explore and take your time going to different parts of the world and talking to different people in the landmass that is called Oros. I will say that the start of the game is probably going to either be a hit or a miss for a lot of people. When I first started playing this, it felt janky as hell. I use that term a lot. What I generally mean by janky is it's got this feel of stiffness to it within the character movement, similar to that of early access games. However, after about an hour of gameplay, I didn't really notice it anymore. I will admit, I could be a little bit biased here. I might just be extremely spoiled by the intense movement systems of other FPS games these days. So this game, as of right now, is about 5 years old, but it really doesn't feel like it once you get into it. In fact, I didn't even know when it was released until about 8 hours in when I was just getting curious. I was quite surprised. So would I buy this game for full price? That's pretty much the first question I would imagine. No. Fuck no. Definitely not. No. Would I suggest you play it? Absolutely. If you enjoy the ideology of primal technology and old style human ooga booga interaction in caveman times, you're gonna get a blast out of this. The storyline, for me at least, was quite interesting and shocking at times, which was sort of surprising. I wasn't expecting to be shocked with a few certain cutscenes. But anyway, it really makes you feel like you're in 10,000 BC and you're in that world. Apart from when you get these stupid ass bugs that just break all of immersion. What the fuck? He's dead, but he's not. Story of my life. Which fortunately doesn't happen too often, and in the times that it does, I sort of just turn on my blissful ignorance mode and pretend it's developed by an indie company, which is another reason I'll nail the point not to buy this at full price. So I don't want to talk too much about the story, but I will give a very brief overview and the inspiration that I think the developers derived a lot of it from. So essentially, you're a hunter who goes by the name of Takar in the year 10,000 BC, the time of mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, and hunter-gatherers. You're part of a people called the Wenger, which is Far Cry Primal's loose interpretation of the Cro-Magnon from Europe in the Paleolithic era. Thanks, Wikipedia. The area you'll be playing in is called Oros, and there are essentially two rival tribes that are at your throat the entire game, and the end goal is to conquer the land and make it safe for your people. The main storyline starts off introducing Takar and his brothers, who have been traveling for many suns. You are in the middle of a mammoth hunt and manage to take it down. However, the group gets ambushed by a saber-toothed tiger, who's there mostly to steal the kill, but it's also seeing, you know, some juicy fucking Wenja right in front of it as well, so it ends up killing everyone except you. From there, you recover, and you end up meeting a woman named Sila, who is also a Wenja and tells you of the Udam, who destroyed what I can only assume was the main tribal settlement the Wenja had established in Oros. So your objective is to rebuild the Wenja and destroy all those who would oppose or cause harm to your new Ooga Booga tribe. Throughout the game, you will bring back the wandering homeless Wenja and unite them all together once again to form a new tribal settlement for all Wenja to live happily ever after. So it's a very simplified explanation. Ironically, this is a very simple game in some respects given the context of Primal Times, so the explanation itself might just be enough to sum up the whole game. But it really depends on how you interpret this game itself. And here's where I think this game actually becomes quite complex, enjoyable, and sort of a masterpiece in terms of art. I don't know what it is about this game, but it really ticked off that neuron firing in my head that was just like, you know what, I haven't done a game review ever. Let's do one. So a lot of the characters are really unique. I would go as far to say they purposely did that just for variety in such a boring era. It's quite obvious that the characters have very eccentric personalities and they're very different from each other. It's put in deliberately, I can feel. The voice acting is insane, and if I'm not mistaken in understanding the behind the scenes stuff, they actually got 2 linguistics professors to create the entire Wenja language from scratch. The developers even consulted with paleontologists who helped them construct the game into an almost historically accurate recreation of what it would have been like in that time, from the interactions of the Homo sapiens to the flora and fauna. So coming back around to the game itself, I'd like to discuss quite a few things that I liked, disliked, and just outright fucking hated when I played this, or didn't play it in some sense, which I will get to probably at the end of the video. So the pacing. This is an extremely slow game. It's going to take you at least 20 plus hours to probably reach the end credits. I actually had to Google what the fuck I was meant to do to reach the end credits because I wasn't entirely sure. It's a bit obvious, but it's not completely obvious. So storyline wise, as I stated before, it's not entirely linear and it's telling. You're going to be completing the main story how you want to, instead of a move from mission A to B, B to C, D to E, you know, sort of like that. That's not this game. Don't mistake my words by thinking you've got free will though. There aren't really any multiple choices at all. It's just that you get to decide in what order you want to connect the dots. So for instance, you can choose to recruit certain tribes people first before others, kill enemy tribes people before others, or vice versa. You can spin it all around. You can do it in whatever order you want, but you don't exactly have the free will to change the outcome. You'll always end up with the same result. I really liked the story, which is why I'm going to try avoid mentioning specifics. I could really imagine someone not enjoying this storyline at all, but then again, I'm a simple man. I like the Ooga Booga, and a lot of storylines just captivate me in general, even if they have horrible fucking flaws and plot holes and all that. I'm easily entertained. If you dangle some keys in front of me, I'll just start giggling like a baby, okay? But still, there are some storylines that I just can't get through because they are just so shit. This is not one of them. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the actual gameplay's pacing instead of just the storyline. So first off, we're just going to go straight for the movement. You've got a slide mechanic. It's not great. I'd probably go as far to say don't use it unless you're really in a pinch to get out of sight, which is referencing something that I haven't discussed yet, which is the stealth system. It's not something you're going to be using for movement, more so getting out of sight in a pinch. Given I play a lot of other FPS games, the slide mechanic over the years has become sort of the staple for fast movement. So readjusting myself into sliding and not sliding was a little bit of a jarring experience. So given the concept of being a hunter-gatherer, you're going to gather stuff in this game. I would highly suggest you turn off the animations in the options menu for gathering. The fact that they added this option is a bloody godsend. So dependent on whether or not you turn it off or on is going to massively impact your gameplay pacing. For instance, when I first started gathering, it was immersive and it was nice, but within about 15 minutes, it was annoying as hell. The amount of gathering you're going to be doing is actually detrimental to survival at times. By turning off the animations, you literally enable yourself to run straight over materials and pick them up, rather than stopping, collecting, cutting them or whatever, and then lifting yourself back up to continue. If you have an enemy chasing you, for example, that's essentially life or death. I would argue leaving it on would make it more realistic if you're into that, but I am a little more into fast-paced movement and gathering personally, and also if there was a huge variety of different animations for gathering things, I might have left it on, but they all look the same. Alright, so next we'll talk about the combat and stealth. So the combat, if you've played any of the other Far Cry games, it's pretty similar. It's basically stealth in, stay in stealth for as long as you can to optimize your killing effectiveness, but once stealth is broken, you're in open combat. The weapons themselves are quite limited, so you're going to discover what works for you really fast. Personally, it took me a bit to realize, but the spears are probably the most versatile weapon in the entire game. So when you throw them, they can do way more damage than the bow and arrows, and you can aim at enemies' weak spots, such as areas without armor, to inflict massive amounts of damage. And this is both up close and from a distance. There are also bombs you can unlock. At first, I was a bit iffy on using them. They felt gimmicky and silly, but they are actually pretty good if you can group up the enemies. It takes them out all in one go, just a single bomb. It's fucking insane. They have a very small radius though, so you have to plan it out pretty well. So the stealth and combat are also tied very closely to the perk system. Both are going to improve the more perks you get. I'll explain the perk system more in depth soon, as I've got some more things to say about it. Although the actual stealth mechanics themselves are just really neat. I wouldn't say they're top notch. If you're smart about the way you move, you'll be able to retain stealth quite easily. You can even learn of ways to abuse it by sending your animal companions in when attacking a stronghold, for instance. Stealth is pretty necessary when attacking strongholds, as if Takar is flagged as discovered by the enemy, they'll run for the backup horns, and then you're going to be in open combat most likely. That brings up another thing, the beasts. You can have beasts by your side to do your bidding. Once again, I'll get into that soon, as I also have other stuff to say. So I will mention that there is this little trick you can do. Even if you're in open combat, if you wait around corners and surprise the AI, you'll get a takedown prompt as if you were actually sneaking. I can't tell if this is because of the situation of you surprising them, or it's actually like a minor bug, but nonetheless, it's a really neat way to take people out in open combat. As for healing, there's a whole section dedicated to that, which I'll get into, but essentially most of the game I was using the primitive healing perk, where you sort of just pull your joints back into place and it heals you about 1 bar, and you can upgrade that later on. But essentially, after I got that upgrade, I never used any of the other healing methods, as they just use up materials that I liked using for other stuff. And not that you would actually use those said materials for other stuff. I'm pretty sure the green leaves were exclusive to healing combinations. But I ended up with a lot of green leaves, let's just say. I never ended up using the green leaf concoctions to heal myself. It was always just pulling my joints back into place. Alright, so Takar the Beastmaster. So one of the primary mechanics that you'll be using a lot in this game is the ability to tame and command different types of carnivorous animals. In order to start this, you've got to find the shaman who goes by the name of Tensei. He will allow you to have your first vision quest. Just gotta say, I love this character and the whole concept, but my trigger itchy finger had me going to the fridge to get a drink during his cutscenes and quests, because they are fucking slow, dude. They are really slow. Anyway. From a player's perspective, he's a nut job, but from the game's perspective, he does possess some sort of magical voodoo within the world, which is really cool. So the beasts mechanics can essentially be split into 2 sections for the shaman's perk tree: taming beasts and then the owl. So first, there's 4 different tiers for being able to tame stronger and stronger beasts, and then you have the owl, which is essentially like a scout. It has multiple upgrades you can work towards that make it more than just a scout as well. Taming creatures allows you to command them to attack enemies, and certain ones even have beneficial passive skills that apply to either you or them in positive ways. There is plenty more to the beasts, however I'll leave that to you if you want to play. One of the biggest gripes I had though with the beast in combat was when you're in stealth, you can send them in to attack enemies, However, after the beast dies, or if you call it back, this would happen understandably if you called it back, but let's just, for the sake of what I'm about to say, let's just say the beast dies. The enemies seem to magically know where you are. I can't tell if that's like a situational thing again in game, or it's where it's meant to be immersive, and if a beast is attacking them from a certain angle, maybe they know it's being commanded by an enemy. Or if it's just a fucking horrible bug. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So the same thing happens when you send in your owl to take out enemies. Magically, they'll just know where you are and search for you. Like, your stealth won't break, but they immediately start searching in your direction. It's just weird. I will also mention that the owl is deceptively good, if I'm phrasing that right. What I mean is, when I first started playing, I didn't touch the owl perks until about hour 13. They are really, really useful. Don't just glance over them real fast. Actually have a look at the owl perks. They're pretty neat. All right, traveling and saving. First off, traveling in this game is as primal as it gets, with the exception of the fast travel ability. You can unlock fast travel points by taking over enemy strongholds. The traveling on foot itself can be aided by combining the blue leaves with food to give you a speed boost. There is a perk tree that increases the amount of time food boosts can last, which is neat. There is also movement perks in that tree as well. So there's a perk that allows you to ride saber-toothed tigers, brown bears, and mammoths. 2 perks to be specific. Saber-toothed tigers are perfect if you don't want to chew through your blue leaf reserves. However, if you love collecting things as you run around, I found spamming jump with the blue leaves is the best. I can't tell if jumping increases your movement speed, but I've got into the habit of doing it. Also, what the fuck else are you meant to do while you run across fields for days? Mashing that spacebar kept me sane. I'm sure a quick Google search on speedrunning techniques would answer my question, but as long as it feels faster. So the save system is a bit wonky in my opinion. You do have the option to quick save and quick load in some areas, but there's this small as fuck notification in the top left, or is it the top right? I can't remember, letting you know it's done a quick save. It's successfully quick saved. Sometimes that fails to actually appear in my fucking vision, and I end up loading back to some fucking quick save I did literally like 20 minutes ago. Usually when you're trying to quick save and you can't, it'll show you this fucking huge message, which is neat, but sometimes it wouldn't do that. So the respawn system is forgiving enough alongside the auto-saving, so quick saving wasn't really needed. It feels really gimmicky and not implemented that well, but then again, that could have just been my experience, but you know, it wouldn't be me if I wasn't mentioning what the fuck was pissing me off. For instance, if you've played Skyrim, I'm sure many people have, quick save system in a lot of Bethesda's games is absolute fucking mint. It's great. This, no. So, the perk system. The perk system is quite extensive. I can probably talk about it for a while, so I'm going to zip my mouth up and just go through the perks that I found to be the most useful. You can figure out the rest if you want to play. So, best perks in my opinion are Beast Taming 1 to 4. This will give you access to insanely good beasts you can tame and command. Primitive Healing 1 and 2. Get that as fast as you can. It's free healing. It's free real estate. Unlock the takedown perks. They are really useful. Not only when sneaking, but surprising enemies around corners. You can manage to pull off chains and delete everyone. Unlock the tagging abilities as well for both you and the owl. They are extremely helpful, especially if you like playing stealthy. Obtain the Beast Rider perk to ride Sabertooths. They will allow you to traverse great distances really fast. So there is also the entire gathering skill tree. I'd probably intertwine getting gathering skills in between all of those other perks, but essentially if I were to start a new game, that would be my ideal setup and what I would aim for immediately as soon as I have acquired the necessary skill points. So there are multiple ways to heal yourself in this game. However, I'll simplify it for you. All right? Ready? Just use the Primitive Heal perk. You can upgrade it at a certain point by unlocking Primitive Heal 2 in the perk tree. The other healing methods are okay, but I never really found myself losing a massive amount of health to justify using the stronger leaf concoctions. That being said, the food isn't healing alone. Some of them give different effects, my favorite being the blue leaf concoction, which makes you run fast as fuck, boy! Fire and fire spread. So fire is a thing in this game, you know? Given the caveman, ooga booga. You can ignite all of your melee weapons to turn them into torches alongside their normal use. However, you can't do power attacks with a lit weapon. Going for a power attack with a lit weapon just moves the weapon forward and sets fire to whatever is in front of you. Whether or not fire really affects stealth is something I never figured out during my gameplay, and I still don't know for sure, but it feels like it doesn't. It does feel extremely wrong though if I'm sneaking around with this fucking light brighter than the sun in complete darkness and they still can't see me. It just feels wrong, so I usually put it out just for the gameplay experience. Also, that lack of heavy attack, fuck that. Fire will spread over certain terrains and flora and fauna. Fun thing to do is you can set prey on fire and watch it run through the fields, igniting everything it runs over. Fire is really useful for attacking strongholds as well. If you set fire to a hut with someone in it, they're fucked. They are fucked. The useless crap, or should I just say useless crap singular. Crocodiles. What is the point of the crocodiles? They exist solely to be a source of meat and annoyance. There is no mechanics or resources unique to them at all, or even a mention of them from anyone in the game. They literally just float in place, in lakes, all over the map, and wait for you to go past them, and then they death roll you. I wouldn't be as annoyed by them if they actually served some sort of mechanical purpose. Like, crocodiles' skin and teeth could have definitely been used for something. Then again, it might be historically accurate that they didn't use crocodiles for anything back then. Seems highly unlikely though. The age of hunter-gatherer was that of curiosity and invention. They used everything they could from the world around them. Game boot-up issues and Ubisoft's integration fucking sucks, dude. It's shit. So I am one who lives and breathes Steam. If it's not on Steam, I don't play it. And it's gotta be one fucking good game for me to actually go out of my way to move away from Steam to play it. An example would have been Maneater. I got that on Epic Games when it released. It's now on Steam, but you know, whatever the fuck. Fuck off. Whatever. So I mostly have this outlook because I've already gathered a huge collection of games on Steam. And I've got an ongoing record of achievements and much more stuff unique to it. Everything blends together in Steam. All my friends are on Steam. It's just a great hub and a launcher with inbuilt achievements. I said achievements twice. I really love achievements. I'm sort of an achievement hunter, but I only do that on games I really love. So why would I want to download another launcher that is trying its best to emulate what I already have? That said, it doesn't matter if you don't like downloading other launchers. You are forced to download Ubisoft Uplay to play it regardless of if you bought it on Steam or their shitty platform. It could very well be because of the Steam boot up, but I couldn't get the game to boot up for like 2 fucking days. I had to scour the internet for ways to fix it. It was a fucking nightmare. Eventually a reinstall fixed it alongside a shit ton of other stuff that I did. It's been a while now since I did it, but it hasn't given me any problems, but Jesus fucking Christ. I even verified the game and there were no errors, so I don't know what the hell happened. It's probably got something to do with the way Steam and Uplay interact from my guess, but it was a nightmare. Ubisoft makes some awesome games and all, but don't make a fucking launcher, dudes. Leave it to the professionals. That being said, they ain't never gonna do that. That's just sort of me just screaming into the void. And one of the biggest things that really pissed me off was there is no achievement system at all. You know the achievements that you can get on Steam that are usually tied in with games? There's nothing. There's just trading cards. That's it. I love my achievements. I love getting achievements on games I really like. I really liked this game. I really wish there was achievements I could get. And there isn't. So now I'm sad. So, conclusion. The game's pretty awesome. Do not buy it at full price. Don't expect to finish it fast. Take breaks when you play it because you're probably going to burn yourself out given how repetitive it can get. And I think it's really cool they made it. Usually I hear people whinge about AAA companies not going out of their way to make games that are more eccentric since they already have a well-selling formula. Upon researching the development for this game, I was super impressed. They went to a lot of effort. That being said, that alone doesn't get rid of the gripes I had with it. But yeah, if it's on sale, give it a go. If you get into it, you'll probably make it past 20 hours. If not, you'll probably give up in the first hour. No time wasted. All right, so that is about it. If I actually manage to influence one of yous into either making the decision not to get this or to get it, be sure to let me know down in the comment section. I'd really love to see that I've actually, helped someone out. If not, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and all that fucking YouTube shit. And yeah, booga booga. See you next time.
Yeah.